Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day you are listening to this. Welcome to another Lockdown Live. It is a little bit later than 8:15. I do apologise, and it's Friday. I've just literally dipped out of another meeting, not with a client. I should say I wouldn't do that. So I'm sorry that I'm a little bit late. Today I wanted to look at anxiety. Why anxiety? Strange question, because there's loads and loads of anxiety around at the minute. People are very anxious and nervous and scared and frightened and all of those things that feed into that one word, anxiety. So I wanted to take a really quick look at what anxiety is. Firstly, anxiety is something that we all have, we all experience. It is part of our primal system. Yeah, it's part of what keeps us safe. It's part of what keeps us alive. It's really important that we have this kind of signaling system of anxiety. Why do we have anxiety? Because it warns us that things aren't quite right in our world. What can happen with anxiety, and what is happening with a lot of people right now, is it can almost get stuck. There's a really cool book, and it's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. So I'm going to explain that to you, because then it might help you understand how our system works and how an animal system works, remembering that we are part animal. Okay, we have to remember that. We are very sophisticated humans, but there is a part of us that is very animalistic. And that part of us is very powerful. So why zebras don't get ulcers? Zebras and lions and tigers and all of those things have the same primal system that we have. It is the same warning system. So they're out and they're grazing and they're looking around them, and it's all really chilled, and then all of a sudden there's a threat on the horizon. Now in the animal kingdom, what happens is the threat is there, their system ignites, and the blood rushes to all the places that needs to rush. It leaves the digestive system, and it moves into like the limbs, because it knows it's going to have to run. Then what happens is, after the threat has gone, their system then goes back to normal. What we've done as humans is, because we are so sophisticated in our thinking, that our systems have kind of gotten stuck a little bit, and for some people they've gotten really stuck, and that's why we experience such high anxiety in the world that we live in. More and more anxiety around, because we get stuck here, we get stuck in our head. There's a massive difference between feeling stuff here in our heart and feeling stuff here in our heads. We are very sophisticated, but also a little bit basic in our thinking. That's why we get stuck in this primal system, and that's where anxiety comes from. We have to unpick things and not just allow our minds to take over. That's really important. So how can we actively override anxiety? We can actively override anxiety by doing some really deep breathing. Deep breathing, I encourage people to deep breathe like every hour for 2 to 3 minutes. I don't know, like 5 rounds of 5 deep breaths. We go in through the nose, we hold, and then we come back out through the mouth. When we go in through the nose, the lower stomach will always raise a little bit, because then we know the breaths go right down into the diaphragm where we want it to go. What we do again as humans is we don't breathe deep enough. We breathe very shallow. We breathe here. We want the breath to go right down, because then that triggers the mind into a calmer state. Okay, so deep breathing every hour for 2 to 3 minutes. And honestly, I encourage everybody to do that as a matter of course. When we do deep breathing, I want it to be proactive, not reactive. Because if it's proactive, then the chances are we won't dip into these very anxious spots, and we definitely won't dip into panic attacks. So deep breathing, Pilates, yoga, any calming exercise like that, any calming practice. The other one that I really like is what I call a butterfly hug. A butterfly hug comes from the model or the stable of EMDR, which stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprogramming. Glad I remembered that. Butterfly hug, arms like this, and then we gently tap slowly. And as we gently do this, we take ourselves in our minds to a really safe space, a space that has brought us a sense of calm, a space that we have felt safe in. Okay, and we just tap really slowly, close your eyes, and just stay there for 2 to 3 minutes. And again, what happens is we get this sense of calm. The bilateral stimulation, which is this, plays with both sides of the brain, so the message goes into the whole of the brain and not just part of it, and the brain will then drop into this much calmer place. Here's the thing about anxiety: we have to take action. We mustn't let anxiety take control over us, which it does more often than not. We assume that when we feel anxiety, that there is a real threat out there. So I encourage you to feel the anxiety, and remember, anxiety can present itself in many ways. Shortness of breath, tightness here in the chest, sweaty palms. One of my signals is a dry mouth, a really dry mouth, like such a dry mouth that no amount of water could ever kind of quench that. So we feel anxiety in different ways. You might get a pain. You might get a pain in your arm, or just watch out for signals on the body. The body will always tell us what it needs. Okay, so recognize the anxiety and then do some deep breathing. But what I encourage you firstly is to do the deep breathing first, or some sort of practice every morning. Wake up every morning, sit on the edge of the bed, do some deep breathing. Deep breathing. Get in the shower, do some deep breathing. Get out of the shower, do some deep breathing. Before you've even gotten down to work, you've done like 3 sets of deep breathing. So your system, this part here, will have gone like this, and it will have dropped into a much calmer space. The other thing I wanted to do with these really quick lives is I wanted to look at the Action for Happiness calendar. The Action for Happiness calendar is a calendar that's produced every month, and each day has a little task on it. And I wanted to use these lives just to pass these over to you, because some of them are really cute and really like them. Yesterday's was find something positive in somebody. Today is, let me just have a look at this. Oh, I like this one. Say positive things to people you meet today. So, I don't know, that's a nice top. You look well today. Anything that, or thank them for doing something they've done for you. So, say positive things to people you meet today. There will be a physiological reason that is good for you, not just for them, okay? If you've got any questions, or if you've got any subjects that you want me to cover, then please message into me privately. Somebody messaged me yesterday about anxiety, and that's why I wanted to look at anxiety today. I want to do these to service you in some way in terms of what you want to hear and what you want to talk about, okay? I'm going to go because the meeting that I dipped out of, I'm going to dip back into. So I don't think they won't have noticed that I'm not here. And I will speak to you tomorrow morning, which is Saturday morning, for the last lockdown live, okay? I'll be here at about 8:15 because my first client's 8:30. All right, and I wish you a really pleasant day, and love and peace to everybody. Okay, take care. Bye.